everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you would like, and today I have for you my January wrap-up and February TBR for 2024. Little disclaimer, there is currently a truck idling outside of my apartment building. I have no idea if you guys can hear that, but I can hear it. It's really annoying, so I apologize if you can hear it, but there's really nothing I can do about it. So January was kind of a wild ride with reading. There was a lot of stuff that I had wanted to get to, but also a lot of stuff that I didn't expect to be on my TBR and for me to read. But overall, I'd say it was a pretty good month. February, I have so many things that I want to read. Like, the list is so long, but we will get to that. First, we're going to talk about all of the January reads. First up, we have the most surprising book to me that I read this month, and that is Myths and Legends of the Middle Ages by H.A. Guerber. And I read this because for my first video of the year, I thought, how fun would it be if I did one of those book scavenger hunts to find my first read of the year? And it took me to this book, which is not something I would have picked for myself as my very first read of 2024, but I actually loved this. I had a great time. I did a little bit of research into the author. It was just so fun, and you can check out that vlog. I will leave a link to it in the description below if you want to know more, but yeah, a very surprising but very satisfying first read of the year. Then I picked up The Memory of Babel by Christelle Dabos. This is book 3 in the Mirror Visitor series, and I gave this an 8 out of 10. There was a little bit of a rough start, like it kind of wasn't vibing with me at the beginning. There was also some translations that I wasn't super fond of the word choice that the translators used, so that was a little bit but the midpoint reveal absolutely blew my mind, and so the whole second half was so much better than the beginning had been, and just the relationship and how it changed and grew. I was hooked. Now I only have one more book left in this series, and it's kind of unanimously agreed upon that it is the worst book in the series, so I'm a little bit sad about that. I kind of wish I didn't know that about the books and like what people think of them. I wish I was going into it a little bit more blind, but I'm still cautiously optimistic about it that whenever I get to it, I will love it. So that is the second book that I read. Then I picked up Wild Magic by Tamara Pierce, and this is the Nostalgia Train book club pick for the month, and I thought it was okay. I definitely would have liked it a little bit more if I was younger, I think, but reading it as an adult just felt kind of weird. For one, this is like a children's middle grade book, but there's only one character who's that age, and like all of the secondary characters are adults. There's a couple who are like teens, but they're not as young as the protagonist, and that just felt so awkward. There was also a lot of like interactions that kind of gave me the ick, but overall it was a fine book. I'm not sure if I'm going to be continuing on with the series. I might, but not anytime soon, probably. After Wild Magic, I picked up a different middle grade, and that is 100 Cupboards by N.D. Wilson. This is a book that I loved as a kid, and so this was a reread for me now. I found this at a thrift store over the summer, I want to say, like a couple of months ago, but not super long ago. And I didn't remember a ton of it, but I remembered that I loved it, and so I bought it because it was only $1, and then I reread it this month, and I had a great time. I thought it was so fun. And I don't remember if I ever read the other 2 books in the trilogy, but I want to say I want to continue on with them, but we know that I am kind of terrible at continuing on with series, so we'll see if I actually do. Though my next reads actually were 2 books that were part of a duology, so maybe I need to give myself more credit for a continuing series, but those 2 books were The Graces and its sequel, The Curses, by Laura Eve. I also vlogged this reading experience, so I will link that down below if you want to check it out. This was, weird. It's such an odd book. I didn't love it, but I also didn't love it the first time I read it several years ago. I think it was like 2019, but I kept it because look at this cover. It's so gorgeous. But after the vlog of me reading it, I decided I don't need to keep this on my shelf, so this will be going to a free little library, and I'm a little bit sad about it because it's so stunning, but the space on my shelf should go to a book that I absolutely adore. On the flip side, we have a book that I gave a 10 out of 10, and that was The Outcasts by John Flanagan. This is the first book in the Brother Band Chronicles, which is a spin-off of Ranger's Apprentice. Last year, I read one Ranger's Apprentice book every month. Ranger's Apprentice is a series that I've loved since I was like 12 years old, and this year I'll be reading through the Brother Band Chronicles in the same way. And the first 3 books will be rereads for me, but everything after that, I think there's 9 total, will be new to me, so I'm so excited. And I just had a fantastic time reading this. The ensemble cast is so great, and it deals with a lot of like harder topics, but I feel like it's done in a very good way, in my opinion at least. Not that Ranger's Apprentice doesn't deal with harder topics, but this first book covers so much. It covers the main character having a mixed heritage. His best friend has a dad who kind of walked out on the family after a series of bad decisions made him feel like he couldn't like be with them and be a positive influence on his son. There's a character who deals with disability and alcoholism, and I just really love the characters. They feel so real to me, and just the camaraderie between them and the dynamics is so good, and I'm just cannot wait to read book 2 in February. After that, I picked up Inkblood Sister Scribe by Emma Torres. This was the Bujo Buddies book club pick for the month, and I'm really glad that I was able to get an ebook copy of it. And I liked this. I didn't love it, but I still had a good time. My favorite part of this is definitely the dynamic between the 2 sisters, because there's 3 main characters. 2 of them are sisters, and the third one is this guy who's like off to the side. He kind of does his own thing for a bit before coming into the rest of the plot. But the sisters are actually half sisters. They have the same dad but different moms. And I feel like half siblings is a dynamic we don't really see in fiction very often. And as someone who has half siblings, I would love to see more of that because it is kind of a complicated relationship to have. And I thought that was so well done in this book. And I just loved that so much. And the last book that I finished in January so far, because I am filming this a little bit early, was To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, and this was yet another book club pick. So my friend Michael has started a book club called the Old Works Classic Book Club, and I don't read a ton of classics, but it sounds fun. I really love discussing literature with people, so the first pick is To the Lighthouse, but the discussion's not going to be till the end of February. I just read it a little bit early because I had the time, and I thought it was fine. This is my second Virginia Woolf. I feel like I liked the other one, Mrs. Dalloway, better, but I think I only liked it better because I read it in a classroom setting and I had that discussion space to critique the literature. And so when we get to the live show, I feel like that's going to improve my understanding and appreciation for this book. I didn't think it was bad, but I just didn't love it. The middle section, there's 3 parts to it, and the middle one was definitely my favorite. I thought that was so interesting and well written, but the rest of it was kind of just meh. And as for what I am currently reading at this point in time, I have started Dorohedoro, which is a manga by Q Hayashida. I think I could be misremembering that name. I don't have it right in front of me, but this is a dark fantasy manga series, which is my favorite manga genre, as we all know. And I'm reading this because it's one of my boyfriend's favorite series, and Laura also started reading it recently, I think, and really liked it. So I picked it up, and I'm having a fun time with it. It's definitely not a favorite, but I'm enjoying it. It follows a man named Cayman who has a lizard head besides being otherwise human, and he's trying to figure out why that is and how to fix it. And there's so much more going on than that, but that's the basic premise. It's fun and silly, and I'm just along for the ride with it. And now with that out of the way, I can grab my deck of cards and we can do our card pulls and figure out what the heck I'm going to be reading in February. Alright friends, I'm here with my cards. We're gonna split it there, sure, just so you know I'm not cheating and putting specific cards on top. We're gonna do 3 pulls, so let's see what they are. Number 1 is the Rogue. Pull number 2 The Ally, and pull number 3, the Three of Adversaries. Ooh, I just, for this new year, changed what prompts the adversary cards have, and I don't remember what they are, so I'm a little bit about this one. I'm kind of scared, but these are 3 cards. I'm going to consult my document to see what they all mean and pick out some books, and I will come back to tell you all about them. Okay, I'm back, and I actually don't have any physical books to hold up for you for these 3 card pulls, which is interesting because I have a lot of physical books that I plan on reading in February, but they're not the books that I fit into these card prompts. However, the card prompts led me to 3 books that I was planning on reading for a very specific themed vlog that you will probably get beginning of March, I think, because I don't plan on reading these books till the end of February. But I'm not going to tell you the theme of the vlog. You can probably guess what it is, but I will now tell you about those books that I picked. So for The Rogue, the 2 prompt options are either a book out of my comfort zone or a genre I don't usually reach for, and this is kind of both of them, but I went with out of my comfort zone, and the book I have chosen is Butcher and Blackbird. Don't know who this is by, but this is the pick for the Bujo Buddies book club, and it is a romance between 2 serial killers. Oh boy, is that out of my comfort zone. Yeah, I'm a little bit scared to be reading that, but read it I shall. It was the perfect fit for this card because that is so far out of my comfort zone. But yeah, Butcher and Blackbird is the first prompt, or the first book on this TBR. Then we have The Ally, and the 2 prompt options for this are a book that's written by an author tuber or a self-published book, and I have gone for a self-published book, and that is By a Thread by Lucy Score, which I did search to find if she was self-published, and Google says yes, but she's self-published in a weird way, and I couldn't really find any clarification on that, but because it said that she's self-published, I'm going to assume she's self-published. Yeah, I've never read any Lucy Score, but this is a book recommended to me by my dear friend Emily, and this is a grumpy sunshine romance where one of the characters is the other character's boss. I don't know, man. For the vlog. It's all for the vlog, but that is my pick for the Ally card. And then our last pull was the Three of Adversaries, and the prompt for this card is a book with less than a 3.9 on Goodreads, which is a weird way to phrase that. I feel like I meant a book that's 3 point something because it's the Three of Adversaries. So the book that I'm going with for this card is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon, which has a 3.65 on Goodreads, and this is smutty romance with big blue aliens. Have you guessed the theme for my vlog yet? Probably. But this is a book that covers 2 different reading challenges that I'm doing, the only 2 reading challenges. So yeah, I was gonna be reading it anyway, so I figured why not vlog it, and the fact that I could get it on this TBR is even better. So those are the 3 most mandatory reads for the month. But let's go over the other several bajillion books I plan on reading in February. So first up, we have the Nostalgia Train book club pick for February, which is Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and I'm actually the co-conductor for the month. I don't know if Violet's actually announced that yet, but as the co-conductor, I'm saying it's okay for me to announce it here. But yeah, Cinder is a book from, I think, 2012, and it's a sci-fi retelling of Cinderella, if you couldn't tell from the cover, and I actually read this for the first time last year and loved it. I read the first 2 books in the series, and this year I plan on reading the whole series, so that's 4 books, plus I have the prequel novella, so that's 5, and I will be vlogging this as well, so you can look forward to that at some point during the month. But yeah, Cinder, I loved it. I'm very excited to reread it and to finish out the series and to talk about this book with all of my friends. So stay tuned for whenever the live show happens. I will be sure to make an announcement when that's scheduled if you guys want to join in on that. But yeah, this adds 5 books to my TBR for February. Then we have The Invaders by John Flanagan, which is book 2 in the Brother Band Chronicles, so it is my February pick for the series, and don't really have much to tell you about it, except it's the second book in the series that I was just gushing to you about when I did my January wrap-up, so cannot wait to get to this. And then lastly, I'm hoping to get to From Below by Darcy Coates. I have been looking for an excuse to read more Darcy Coates, and this is the pick for the buddy read over on Allison on a Book Breaks channel. I love her channel. She's great. Definitely check her out. I feel like I'm going to be linking so many people in the description of this video, but she's fantastic, and she does a start and stop buddy read every month, and I will let you watch her video about that to understand what it is, because I will just butcher it. But the pick is From Below by Darcy Coates, and I'm like, great, I would love to read that author more anyway, and the fact that it's going to be a buddy read is going to be super fun. So that is the last book that I am putting on this TBR. Hopefully I can get to other books, because I do like doing a little bit of mood reading during the month, but if not, this is like, what, 10 books on my TBR? I think if I can get through these, I'll be perfectly fine, but those are all of the books on my TBR. Here, I'll hold up these two because I don't have any physical books to hold up for my card pulls, but yeah, we got these two and 8 others that I'm hoping to get to in February, so it's gonna be a time. It's going to be a time. But that is the end of this video. If you've enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.